Nate Robinson's time in Emmerdale has been a journey marked by highs, lows, and unexpected turns. But as his storyline draws to a close, it's clear that his departure will leave a significant impact on the village and its residents. For 5 years, Nate has navigated the complexities of life in Emmerdale, building relationships, confronting past demons, and trying to carve out a future for himself. He arrived as a man with a secret, the long-lost son of Cain, and over time he's grown into a beloved character whose presence has brought both drama and heart to the show. However, as the saying goes, every chapter must come to an end, and for Nate, that ending is both inevitable and heart-wrenching. The decision for Nate to leave Emmerdale is not one made lightly. It's the culmination of various pressures and realizations that have been building over time. Nate has always been a character who strives to do the right thing, even when the odds are stacked against him. His relationship with his father, Cain, has been tumultuous, marked by betrayal, anger, and a struggle for forgiveness. Cain's accusations that Nate has once again behaved inappropriately with Moira, despite the innocence of their shared moment, have reignited old wounds and cast a shadow over their fragile reconciliation. For Nate, the weight of his father's mistrust is heavy, and it adds to the growing feeling that he no longer belongs in the village he once called home. But it's not just his relationship with Cain that's pushing Nate towards the exit. His connection with Tracy Metcalf has been both a source of joy and a source of pain. They've shared moments of genuine love and happiness, but they've also faced their fair share of challenges. Tracy's infidelity, which Nate has tried to move past, lingers in the background, a silent reminder of the fractures in their relationship. As opportunities in Emmerdale dry up and a new job offer in Scotland presents itself, Nate finds himself at a crossroads. The promise of a fresh start, a new beginning away from the ghosts of his past, is tempting. Yet there's a deep, unspoken fear that leaving will mean losing everything he's worked so hard to build. When Nate breaks the news of his potential departure to his friend Mackenzie Boyd, the weight of the decision is palpable. Mac, ever the pragmatist, encourages Nate to think about what he truly wants. Is staying in Emmerdale really in his best interest, or is it time to move on and seek out new challenges? The conversation is a turning point for Nate, forcing him to confront the reality that perhaps his time in the village has run its course. But even as he contemplates leaving, there's an undeniable sadness in the thought of saying goodbye to the people who have become his family. The most difficult conversation, however, is the one he must have with Tracy. When Nate finally gathers the courage to tell her about the job in Scotland, the news hits her like a ton of bricks. Tracy is devastated, but true to her character, she doesn't let it show. She hides her pain behind a facade of indifference, unwilling to admit just how much Nate leaving would hurt her. On the other hand, Nate is equally conflicted. He loves Tracy, but he's convinced that if she truly cared, she would ask him to stay. It's a classic case of miscommunication, where both parties are too afraid to be vulnerable, leading to a heartbreaking stalemate. As Nate begins to pack his bags, preparing for what feels like an inevitable departure, the weight of his decision begins to sink in. He's not just leaving a village, he's leaving behind a life filled with memories, love, and unresolved emotions. But just as he's about to close this chapter, fate intervenes in the most unexpected way. The news that their daughter, Frankie, has gone missing sends shockwaves through the village and shatters any remaining certainty Nate had about his decision to leave. In that moment, all thoughts of the future are cast aside as he joins the frantic search for his daughter, realizing that no job or fresh start could ever replace the family he's built in Emmerdale. The search for Frankie is a pivotal moment in Nate's storyline, bringing him and Tracy back together in a way that only a crisis can. As they scour the village, side by side, the unresolved feelings between them bubble to the surface. The fear of losing their daughter forces them to confront the reality that, despite everything, they still love each other deeply. It's a moment of clarity for Nate, who realizes that leaving Emmerdale might mean turning his back on the people who mean the most to him. In the end, Nate's exit from Emmerdale is more than just a physical departure. It's an emotional journey that forces him to confront his past, his relationships, and his future. Whether he ultimately decides to stay or go, one thing is clear. Nate Robinson's time in Emmerdale will leave an indelible mark on the village and its residents. His storyline is a poignant reminder that sometimes the most difficult decisions are the ones that lead to the most profound growth. As viewers, we can only watch and hope that Nate finds the peace and happiness he so desperately seeks, whether that's in Emmerdale or beyond.